Hey everybody, welcome back to another Nature's Always Right vlog. It's been many months since I've done a vlog, so I wanted to kind of update you guys on my personal life, the story of the farm, what's going on, what are my projects and plans right now and going into the future. So I'm going to share a few tips that I've learned recently and give you guys a big update on everything going on. So one really awesome thing, I got a new camera, or I got a new phone. It was finally time to upgrade. I've been shooting all my videos on my Samsung 6, and now I have the Samsung 9, which has this awesome camera. So I hope you guys enjoy the better footage, the better microphone, and excited to do some more kind of artsy shots and funner filmmaking stuff that I can do with this camera. So stay tuned for some better filmmaking going into the future. You know, over the last, I guess, 2 years of filming videos, I've really fallen in love with the process and making the videos and trying to tell a story or trying to teach something. So I'm excited to take everything to the next level and just keep progressing. Also, with this new phone, I switched providers. I've got Verizon now, which actually has a good 4G signal at my house. So I'm going to be able to start doing a lot more live videos with you guys. I'm really excited about that. So if you guys could let me know in the comments what days are best for live streaming for you guys. When do you guys usually have some time to sit down and watch something? I like to kind of do a once a month live stream with the channel. In the future, for my patrons on my Patreon page, I want to set up a way that we could have our own special live stream with just the patrons as well, and creating a Discord channel. And that's an internet application that allows us to have our own private group off of Facebook and away from all the censorship and all the control that companies like that are doing. Got a lot of irons in the fire right now, a lot of ideas of how I want to make my content better and my communication with you guys better. So I'd love any suggestions that you guys have. Let me know if there's a certain day of the week or a certain time or something where you guys think live streams would be the best. It'd really help me out. And also let me know if there's certain live streaming topics you guys would enjoy. The first one I ever did was I live streamed how to make compost, just walking through the process live. I'll talk about any subject really. So one of the things I've wanted to do with this channel for a long time, there's a lot of things I want to do with this channel other than just showing farming and market gardening and things like that. I want to start talking a lot more about nutrition and gut health, and these are kind of a lot of the things that got me into farming in the first place. And so expect more content like that going into the future. I hope to be able to kind of show some other aspects to this lifestyle that I really think are a huge part of it and go hand in hand with it, honestly. So kombucha is something that I'm a big fan of and I've been making for the last 2.5 years. I'd love to show you guys how to make that very soon. So look forward to some more episodes more about nutrition and things like that. Another piece of content that I really have been wanting to do but just haven't had the time is showing off other small farmers' farms or market gardens. I really want to give us all encouragement and more advice and tips coming from other small farmers, especially people that are starting out in their first or second year, so that we can all encourage each other, see the other things that we're doing, and just know that none of us are perfect growers and we never will be, and we all make mistakes, we all have failures. This is a super important lesson in farming that we all have to learn. So I really am excited to start visiting a couple of my friends' farms, showing off all the cool stuff that they're doing, and hopefully inspiring more people to start growing their own food or trying this as a business. That's something I'm really excited about, and I'm going to be doing my first episode of this series with Jared Smith of Jared's Real Food. And if you know anything about kind of my farming history, this is the farm that I helped start with him it's over 8 years ago now. This is where I got the majority of my farming experience early on with him, and I farmed with him for about 1.5 years, and it was just an incredible experience. Since the beginning, his farm has been no-till, soil health focused, and I think that Jared is doing just an incredible job. I've never seen veggies better than his, and his soil now is just on another level after 8 years of no-till regenerative practices. So I'm super honored and privileged to be able to go to his farm and show you guys everything that he's done over these last 8 or more years. And he's doing some things that are different than a lot of the other no-till people as well. And I think he'll have a lot of good practical, not only life lessons and business lessons for us, but especially lessons about nature and natural systems and how that all interplays with a farming operation. So in addition to farms, I'll also be interviewing people who are involved in agripreneurial enterprises, and people who are either making money or feeding themselves, related to this field. I hope to visit microgreen farms, permaculture sites, home gardening sites, people that are growing food for other people. I've got a buddy who does a landscaping business where he creates edible gardens that he then maintains for people. There's just so many different businesses that you could go with regenerative ag. And I want to express to people that it's not just growing vegetables. That's not the only way that you can be a part of this movement and transition to a new food system. We need tax people, accountants, we need soil makers, we need local seed providers. There's all these different businesses that tie into what we're doing. And going into the future, as small scale ag gets bigger and bigger, there's going to be a lot more niches that are created, going to be a lot more demand for experts, not only in farming, but all aspects of this world. So here's a couple of the projects that I'm currently working on. Right here, guys, I'm going to be building a 10 by 20 foot greenhouse, and I got it from bootstrapfarmer.com. They are absolutely one of my favorite farm suppliers. They do propagation, microgreens, greenhouse materials, all sorts of great stuff to help small farmers get started. They also have a podcast and YouTube channel, and they're really passionate about helping small farmers get started. And they even have some different small farm incubators trying to figure out new ways to make money selling vegetables, different processes. And I'd highly recommend all the content that they put out. They're really creating a lot of value for all of us small farmers. So bootstrapfarmer.com. So that's something I'll be doing soon, and be doing a lot of microgreens in there, as well as summer starts and even some grow bags, which I'm going to talk more about going into the future. So another huge project that I've been working on this last year is learning about Korean natural farming. This is something that I'm going to introduce to this channel very slowly, as it's a very complex and deep, very deep natural farming system. If I wanted to give a quick explanation of Korean natural farming, it's focused on natural farming, period. It involves collecting and proliferating indigenous microorganisms. It also allows us to make all of our own nutrients and natural pesticides as well, using the other methodology called jadam. That's something that the son of the creator of Korean natural farming has developed as well. So I'm not going to go too deep into it now. I just kind of wanted to tell you guys that I'm now going down that path as well. For those of you who like to learn a lot, I highly recommend go check out Korean natural farming. Look up Chris Trump and Drake on YouTube, or just search Korean natural farming, and you'll find a lot of great content by those two guys. They're the two kind of most famous and knowledgeable American teachers of Korean natural farming. So here's a couple of the things that I'm making. So here I'm collecting what's called IMO, indigenous microorganisms. And inside of that box, I have a bunch of rice that I kind of dry cooked. And basically what's going to happen is a bunch of microbial activity is going to colonize the rice, create a bunch of white spider webs. Then we take that and combine it with brown sugar in a 1-to-1 ratio to create IMO2. It becomes a stable form that we can then use to proliferate even further. And there's 5 levels of IMO that you can actually make. Basically, we're just collecting the most diverse amount of organisms as possible, and then expanding and proliferating their populations. So I'm really excited about going deeper into Korean natural farming. For me, I see it as the future of farming. So these biological, ecological methods, the Elaine Ingham soil food web people, that whole methodology mixed with no-till, mixed with Korean natural farming, all of these things that promote only natural systems. So by utilizing microbiology and all of the knowledge that we've gained over the last couple decades about soil health, now almost 3 decades of people practicing no-till and these regenerative ag techniques, showing large-scale systems. We have a lot of scientific evidence now that backs up all these theories about soil science and health. So I'm very, very excited to keep pushing these ideas more forward and showing how it's working on my farm. So let me show you a couple other Korean natural farming nutrients. So right here, I'm making what's called LAB, and that's, we're basically collecting wild lactis bacillus bacteria. So I've done that, and then I combined that with milk. The bacteria goes to work in there, the curds and the whey will separate, and what you're left with in the center is a lactis bacillus serum. The LAB is then used for the health of the plants. And I'm going to talk a lot more in depth about this in the future, but I'd really recommend watching any of Chris Trump's videos on Korean natural farming. He does such an amazing job of explaining how to do it, how it all works, and what's going on. And then here's the last KNF nutrient that I'm making right now. It's called fermented plant juice. And that's when you mix 1-to-1, either, there's different types that you can make. You can use fruit, you can use greens, there's different ways to do it, but you're mixing it 1-to-1 with sugar, fermenting it, and collecting the juices. And then that is a very potent mix of nutrients and organisms. Just wanted to show you guys that to introduce you a little bit to the concepts of Korean natural farming. And I'm really excited to see how it's going to work and tie in with all of the market gardening and soil biology stuff that I'm already doing. Don't expect any in-depth videos on Korean natural farming for quite some time, because I really want to understand this on a deep level before I start talking about it in any sort of meaningful way. So until that time, I really can't recommend Chris Trump and Drake's YouTube channel enough. I'm going to put a link down in the description to those two guys so that you can get started learning about Korean natural farming if that interests you. So here's a little update on what's going on with the veggie growing and what's been going on the last couple of days. So over the last couple of days, we've got about 2 inches of rain, and it's like almost 11 a.m. and we're still flooded out right here. It's a great example of one of the big advantages of raised beds. So luckily mine are slightly raised, so they didn't get completely flooded out, and the plants won't be damaged and they'll be able to drain out and everything's going to be fine. So that's just one advantage of a raised bed. Here I planted some smaller seedlings. I had to get them in the ground because this bed opened up and this was the perfect spot for them, and they weren't big enough, so I planted them pretty small. And to protect them through the rain, I put up my poly low tunnels and some frost blankets. It would give them some cover from the beating rain, and they all survived pretty darn well, I'd have to say. There's some of my leafy green beds here. Here's some of my kale, and I actually had to replant all of this. A lot of people ask me, Stephen, how do you deal with worms and bugs and things like that? Well, I let the natural defense systems of the plant do that for me. So at the time when I was getting really eaten on, it was much warmer. It was about a month ago. And that is when the worms, or the butterflies laying the eggs that turn into the worms that eat the plants, are out. So as you can see now, my collards are looking great because they finally had a chance to bring themselves back and repair themselves. So I need to come in and remove a lot of these eaten up leaves so that they can produce new ones. But it's just evidence that the natural defense system of the plant will take care of it over time if your plants are healthy. I've sprayed these with tea a couple times. In addition to getting all that rainwater and now the cooler weather, the bugs are gone. Now this kale did get wiped out by the cabbage butterfly. All I did was just replace them with the kale backups that I had. So that's one of my techniques. I always plant extra seedlings, especially for like these bi-rotational longer crops, just in case they get taken out by something. I can go in and replace them immediately, and then address any other issues I need to. So I never sprayed anything, and I never will, not even neem oil. Just wanted to show you guys that seasonality and the health of the plant, that is the key to everything, to keeping pests off of your plants. So if you planted something and it's getting super attacked by bugs, think about seasonality as another option for controlling the infestation. Okay, then over here this is the neighbor's yard, and I'm just kind of going crazy over here with having fun and experimenting. This is a tomato plant that self-seeded itself. We are on December 7th right now, and as long as there's no really hard frost, this will survive the winter. Some comfreys coming back alive, some yarrows coming back alive, and then all those other plants that you see are Malabar spinach, and that's a vining perennial type of spinach. And I'm gonna string those up to my trellis here. And then I've also got these collards here, and these are special collard plants. These are called tree collards, and what's cool about them is that they will get very, very tall, and they're perennial. So it's something I can constantly harvest, and I'm excited to use these because they take up vertical space. I think it might be a really cool crop. Actually, this one and also the Malabar are my attempts to play around with more vertical crops in areas that make sense. So against the garage right here, I put up a trellis, and there's Malabar spinach planted there as well. Trying to see if there's some other unique greens that people might enjoy. I can also use to take advantage of microclimates and vertical space. The artichokes are doing really well over here. All the aloe and all these flowers are doing great. I'm hoping that a ton of the seed was spread out over this yard, so that after that rain, I'm gonna get a bunch of wild marigolds, alyssum, yarrow. We'll see what happens. I also dug out a couple swales here to capture all the rain we got so that it all soaks into this mound. And over time, I'm just going to keep planting stuff here and kind of try to create a little veggie perennial food forest here. Two of my best customers, they have a lot of horses, so they gave me a bunch of this horse manure, and I'm just letting it compost here. And if you don't know, horse manure is awesome stuff. It has the best carbon to nitrogen ratio of any animal manure. It's 24:1, which is like the ideal carbon to nitrogen ratio for microbes. So horse manure is excellent, but you got to keep in mind, horses eat a lot of perennial grasses like Bermuda grass. So you want to really compost it well and get it up to 140 to kill those weed seeds, or just let it age for like a year, get it really wet, and those seeds should be gone. Just got to be careful with horse manure. Horse manure is also, they use a lot of deworming and other medicines for horses, and those medicines will kill soil biology. So it's important to know whether or not the horses that you're getting your manure from have received those medications in the last couple of weeks. I think there's an amount of time where those chemicals are dissipated and it's out of their body, and then it's no longer in the manure. And I think I remember Elaine Ingham talking about it. It was like at least 2 weeks, and then it was pretty much safe. Luckily, the people who gave me this take really good care of their horses, and they don't give them any of those poisons. So it'll be kind of cool to see how this area develops going into the future. So this is also something new. This is my new Manifold setup. This is something that's cheaper to make. It's more efficient with the piping, and it's a lot easier to use because you just take off this one little point and this whole thing lifts out, and it's very easy to move all by yourself. So it gives you maximum convenience and control over the water, and really easy to take off. So really happy about that. I'll put a link to the video. Here's something else that I made recently. One of the deals I made with my landlord actually to build those beds, because if you remember, if you've seen, I used to have a little run out here for the chickens. And my landlord and their children and their friends' children really wanted a space where they could have a really good view of them, be able to feed them and have fun with the chickens. So I just built this. It's kind of kid size, so they can come up to the fence and get really close. And then I've got this door here so they can throw food in to attract them, so they can watch them right here. It's just sort of a fun little thing. The passion fruit is starting to make its way across the coop. and can't wait for next summer because this thing is gonna probably take over the whole coop, and it's just gonna be this massive, shady, beautiful, passion fruit covered coop. Soldier fly, these guys are shut down for winter. And the rain barrel, here's my rain barrel, it collects water on my roof. If you want to see how I built this coop, I got a couple of videos about it. Totally full of water. So that's pretty cool. For about 6 months out of the year, I don't have to give any city water to my chickens.